Hi guys, and welcome back to yet another review by Brother Bryce. Today I'm going to be looking at the Utebit magnetic camera mount for GoPro with 1/4-inch swivel mini ball head phone holder camera mount compatible with GoPro. Anyway, I do have a GoPro. I'm only going to be looking at it for the phone mount part, but we're going to unbox it here on camera so that you guys can see what is in the box. So let's have a look-see here. Full transparency, I have already taken all this stuff out of the box to take a quick look at it, but I want you guys to see everything that's in the box. I did put it back in the box exactly as I found it. So here we have this pouch here, which has the magnetic base, and it's kind of heavy. It's kind of heavy. You guys should know I have pretty big hands. I like that this rubber on here, you can see where the pads are, where it's got probably little neodymium magnets in it. It's really soft. I doubt if this would mar the finish on any car. It's really soft. It's really nice. If you felt concerned, you might put like a little piece of fabric on it and then stick that on your car, but it might not be as grippy. It feels really grippy and it feels really soft. I like that. So this is pretty heavy. They are bolted on here with Allen bolts. They feel pretty solid. Let me feel like if you reef on them pretty good, they still don't move. But I like the fact that they're stuck on here with these Allen bolts. You could probably change it out, maybe jury rig something else onto it. And here we have what appears to be the ball head. You've got what appears to be like a thumb screw pad. Of course, I drop it. Now you got your screw that's going to go into your mounting plate. And here's your ball head. So that ball head is going to allow you to adjust everything. I'm kind of disappointed that this ball head is plastic, but considering that your GoPro is not going to be that heavy, it's not going to be that big a deal for a GoPro, but maybe for a cell phone. My cell phone's kind of heavy. So I'm kind of disappointed that the ball head is plastic. It might actually help, though, for it to be grippy with the set screw here in the side. I don't know. Here we have our GoPro mount. It is a pretty standard 1/4-20 thread here and the regular GoPro mount here. I'm not going to bust out my GoPro for this, but I'm actually going to shoot a video with it out of my truck here in just a minute. Definitely going to be part of my kit. And just so you know, the box doesn't have a whole lot of useful information on it. It's got some information about the manufacturer, and that's about it. This part here, the phone clamp part, I feel like that's pretty beefy. If you guys have seen my reviews before, you know I use that word a lot. It's not spring-loaded, so it's got a threaded rod down through here. I kind of dig that. The clamp part, it's got some little teeth, ribs here, and it's soft on the inside, but you see it's curved inward and got this plastic reinforcement. It looks like it will hold a pretty sizable phone. And then you have this here, which is for the turning of the axis of the phone. And if you listen, you can hear it's got some settings, like it clicks into place. I kind of like that because a lot of times if they don't have some kind of like a set notch or something, it'll move. So that means you don't have to tighten it down quite so tight. You don't have to break your hand trying to tighten it down to get it to lock into an axis. So I kind of dig that. You can kind of keep it right there with it being finger tight. And then on the base of this, we've got a 1/4-20 thread. That's pretty standard. This part here doesn't feel nearly as solid as this part here. It feels kind of cheap, kind of chintzy, but and it's hollow. I wish this wasn't hollow. That makes me feel less confident in it. It feels like if you put a bunch of stress on this screw down here, that there's some possibility it would break these ribs out and maybe bust that out, and then maybe your phone. My phone's not that expensive, but I know a lot of people who shoot things on iPhones, and iPhones are expensive. I wouldn't do any high-speed chases with it. There might be some other phone mounts that I would put on here that I would trust more than this base. This part here, I would trust with anything, but this part here, I don't know. I feel like this is the weak point here with all of this being hollowed out and not being solid. I feel like that's a weak point. Just to me, I'm kind of disappointed that there are no instructions. We're just going to try to figure it out. You got this piece that's going to go through here. There's no washer for the bottom. I feel like there should be a washer under here because that's barely bigger than the bottom of this hole. I'll probably add a washer later. So I'm going to add this ball joint on here because I can mount to the ball joint. And then I feel like this is supposed to go on here. People are always telling me to get a grip. And now we got our mount. And then we're going to add our cell phone mount onto the end of that. The reason why you have this piece here, this ring on here, is not for decoration or to give it necessarily a base per se, but to tighten it down to kind of lock nut it. You can get one going one way, threading it downward, and the other one going the other way, threading it counter to that so it locks. Already this thing is popping loose, probably because it doesn't have a lock washer underneath it. And I'll probably add a washer and a lock washer to keep that from happening because that's annoying. That's a weak point for me. I'm already annoyed because of this mounting point here. And the fact that there's no instructions to tell you a better way, and I've been working with cameras for a number of years. This is probably how it's supposed to hook up. Going to open that all the way. But I may just have to take it out of the case to be able to use it. Even just finger tight, I feel like it's very, very secure. This clamp part up here, I feel like that's very solid. You guys could probably wonder what's going on with this crazy thing, but I have a hard time finding a case that I like a lot. So I put a piece of metal on the back of this and I just epoxied it on there so that I can not only have a sturdier case, but be able to magnetically attach it to things. Let's see how well it holds. It's holding really good. It's not moving at all. If I wiggle it back and forth, it's not wiggling the ball joint at all. The set screw is doing a good job of holding it in place, and I'm wiggling the heck out of it, right? So I've gone outside and I put this on my truck and we used it to shoot a video of putting together another product. And here are some of my initial thoughts. All right, as you guys can see, I was able to pretty easily frame up my shot with the ball joint to point at that control panel that I'm going to be putting in. Using this, I feel that this is super secure. It doesn't budge at all. This base is super heavy duty, and I feel like this clamp also is super secure. I don't feel like my phone is moving at all. This ball joint made it really easy to angle. Again, super annoyed with this mounting screw that's in the base of here because it's not locking it. This, just by adjusting this ball joint and the torque of moving the cell phone to get it in the right angle, wiggled this screw loose. Even though I tightened it down as much as I could, this screw got loose. This screw that's down in the bottom of this got loose so easily that this thing started to wobble around. I wouldn't trust it just as it is if I was actually rolling my vehicle right now, unless I was moving it at like 2 miles an hour. But that's just because of this screw. If I had like a better locking mechanism that came with it, that would be great. I'm going to show you something else, and that is where we actually shot this video. You'll see this shakiness that was caused by the unsteadiness of this hollowed out phone stand. Now, if it hadn't been for this phone stand being hollow and really kind of bendy at the top, it's a windy day. It's a little bit of a windy day. Well, it's a lot of a windy day, but if you're driving in your car, this thing is billed as being a car mount for shooting motion video while you're driving. There's going to be wind on this. There's going to be vibrations from the car moving, and you end up with very, very shaky video. as you're seeing here on screen, that's what it looks like with just the wind blowing a little bit on my phone while I was trying to shoot this video. It's very, very shaky. Super annoyed with this mounting point down here, this big old hole where this little screw is meant. Now I get it, it's a quarter 20 screw just like all the other ones, but there's not enough torque to hold this thing down tight, and there's no locking mechanism. A little rubber grommet stuck in there would help to make it more snug, to make it stay put. But every time I went to adjust this ball joint and change it around a little bit, I would have to be very, very careful not to move this at all, because the whole assembly here, this whole mounting point down here, would come completely loose. That's a big, big minus. So for that reason and the wobbliness of this phone mount, I'm going to give this 3 stars. If you're using this for a GoPro, GoPros have their own built-in stabilization. If this were just marketed for GoPro, I would probably give it a 4-star. This mounting point is problematic, though. I'd probably give it a 4-star if it was just marketed for GoPro, but I can't. This cell phone mount is too flexy. It just wobbles with the wind just blowing on it. And it's not like it's mounted on like a 6-foot tripod or something. It's mounted on something that's less than a foot long. It's mounted on my truck, and my truck is sitting still. When you're actually looking at the truck mount part, that part was actually having problems keeping the phone still. I was watching it shaking like a leaf, and I was saying to myself, this video is going to be mostly useless. So I'm going to have to put it through After Effects and stabilize it, because that's what it ended up looking like with this shakiness here. This ball joint, actually, I was surprised. I was impressed at how, look, even with just messing with it just a little bit, this has already come loose again. But this ball joint here, I like it because it apparently, with it being plastic, this set screw is able to dig into it a little better and keep the ball joint from moving. The ball joint didn't move at all. The screw down here was all over the place. Problematic, in my opinion. Marketed for cell phones. I wouldn't use it on a cell phone because of this being too bouncy. I would maybe use it inside, maybe use this mount on this ball joint inside on a tripod or something. I would use that inside, stationary, but not on a moving vehicle. Anyway, I hope that you found this video to be useful. I hope you found this review useful. I hope this helps you make an educated decision on what to buy. All right, you guys, have a great day. Bye-bye.